What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Shout out to Thames. Appreciate that. Now, I think you guys should be able to see me and hear me clearly. What's going on, guys? How are we doing today? Today is Monday, February 26th. Why is this music still playing? Yeah, sorry. Today is February 26th, 2024. I'm feeling great, feeling amazing. Just got a little bit of congestion, so it's a little bit difficult to understand me sometimes. That might be what we're dealing with. But with that being said, definitely ready for another week in the markets. We're of course going to start off looking at the economic calendar. For myself, pretty good week last week. I actually think we spoke about it a little bit last week too. Actually started to trade in the futures market as of last week. Only have been trading NASDAQ 100. That is it. I started a funded evaluation with Top Step. So that was my first futures funded evaluation. So just really learning the way, to the biggest difference it looks like between futures and CFDs or trading in MetaTrader 4 and stuff like that with a broker is I really have not been experiencing spread for one. And for two, the contract, the way that we risk money is different in the futures market. So I had to get adjusted to that, at the beginning of the week. But as far as analysis goes, risk to reward, things of that nature, it's pretty much the same. I started an evaluation, like I said, with Top Step, one of the largest, kind of like FTMO, but for futures, right? And started with them, and that's been a cool experience. They only have a one-phase challenge. I was able to pass that actually this morning. It's a 6% profit target. I was at about 4.8% on Friday, and then going into today, it was just the 1.2% to pass. So I was able to pass that. So we're gonna go ahead and see, right? This is gonna be my first live futures account. So we're gonna be able to go ahead and see, what it is that I'm thinking, about it. Do some feedback, because it would also be awesome to be able to show that to the guild. And help some of you guys maybe get started on that journey, whether it's going from Forex to futures or just trading futures in general. But I definitely think this is going to be the beginning of my futures career in general. Like I haven't even touched my Forex accounts last week. Just really been focused on getting used to operating in the futures market. Yeah, I like it. My favorite part is trading on TradingView. Probably, and the spreads, of course. But trading on TradingView. So that's been interesting. So we'll go over that on a different video. But that's what we got going into this week. So now let's go ahead and dive into the economic calendar. So today we did have some 10 a.m. high impact news. And 8:30, medium impact news that was able to bring some liquidity into the markets. And we were able to take advantage of that. Now for the rest of the week, going into tomorrow, we have 8:30 high impact news as well. 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. high impact US dollar news releases. Given that we're only trading NASDAQ, and I can even change the title of this, right? Because really, I've only been trading NASDAQ. Like, I think the only other consideration once I get the risk down would be gold, or I'll just look at gold in general. But I've really only been trading Nasdaq, and I actually want to stick to that. So and I'm enjoying it, but we'll talk about that like we said. So yeah, tomorrow Tuesday we have some high impact news releases, 8:30 and 9 a.m. as far as that goes. Now for the rest of the week, do remember this is going to be a closeout week, right? So we have the end of a month here, and on Friday we'll be having. Are we gonna have NFP on Friday? No, because it's the actual first. So going into this week, we know that we're gonna have the close of a monthly candle. All right, so we can look towards how that's gonna affect the market. I tend to look to see the opposite of the entire direction of the month as the month comes to a close. So we'll look into that right now. On Wednesday, also have high impact news at 10:30. Other than that, just some okay, 8:30 GDP, 8:30 a.m. news as well, and then some medium impact news events. And then Thursday, a lot of London session action, and then high impact news 8:30, 9:45 Chicago PMI, pending home sales at 10 a.m. This entire week is a healthy economic calendar. So I expect some good price action as we close out the year. I mean the year, as we close out the month. Right now, if you were here with us last week, basically, let's take a look. Sorry, guys. One sec. Alrighty. So, basically, on the weekly time frame, looking at DXY as we came into this week, and into last week, I'm sorry, we had seen the week before, we had just traded into that weekly order block, which was our higher time frame objective. Now, after reaching a higher time frame objective, we either going to expect a pullback or we're going to expect consolidation. All right. Now, we did get some choppiness. However, our idea is to see a pullback here, even if dollar is going to be bullish for the year, whatever the case is, and go for these highs. For right now, after hitting this order block, I'd like to see some pullback here. And we can see that just looking from the low to the high of this price action, which is pretty much this year so far. The discount of that price action is going to be down here in that 102.5 level. So I'm keeping that in mind as long as we're continuing to see respect of premium levels, right? So after seeing DXY trade up into this weekly order block, and we see that this was the week of Valentine's Day CPI, and then here was last week's price action. So let's go ahead and move this now. It's today, last week. So as you see, last week it was really kind of choppy. We did see them run the lows of the previous week here, but it was really it's just such ugly price action. If you look at the candle, the body is very small, very long wicks. I can definitely see us continuing again and making a run down below that low, which we would want to see because we want to see price come down back into this gap here before we make a determination that price is going to go higher, right? So that's my thoughts. So as long as going into this week, we're already into this week. It's Tuesday now. But coming into this week, we saw a little bit of bearish price action, kind of, to start the week, kind of, right? Yeah, all of Monday was pretty much bearish here on the dollar. Let's go ahead and put the weekly open. All right, cool. So yeah, right now, DXY is trading below the weekly open. However, so here on the daily time frame, this was the last down sell candle before we traded up into that weekly order block. Before we traded up into this weekly order block. So my attention is here, right? I would put my attention here, right, between these two last down candles. And if we notice here last week, it was us trading down below that level, right? And then we traded back up into it. That took us down below these lows, right? So that's important to pay attention to. But after taking these lows here on the daily time frame here, we're gonna leave these and above. All right, after taking these lows here, we saw price immediately pull back up, and pretty much pull up for the rest of the week. Now, what I'm looking for is after taking these lows, is there some level of imbalance DXY might want to come back up to before trading off lower? We're gonna have to see. All right, so for right now, given that we already traded down below the candle here, right, that I was looking to see, boom, we saw them trade below there on Wednesday, and then take those lows and then trade right back up to that same area, right, respected again, right, respected the high, well, I guess we would say that would be the high, so respected the halfway, okay, of that order block here on the 4-hour time frame. We saw them respect that, trade back lower, and we're starting to see some bearish breakdown. Okay, now what I'm gonna pay attention to is, let's delete this for right now. What I'm gonna pay attention to is after trading away from this level here on the higher time frame on the 4-hour, we see DXY left a fair value gap here. Okay. Yeah, like literally the week started off and we just straight sold down to this. So what I'm going to watch for going into New York session tomorrow is how price is responding to this fair value gap. Because if price, say that, New York session opens up tomorrow and price is trading, above this fair value gap, that would give me a bullish sentiment, and not bullish, to just go for the highs, because I still want to see that pullback, but bullish for the day, right? Bullish for the day, bullish for the week, whatever the case is. And I would be looking to see them maybe potentially come up into this imbalance, but it's just that they already traded here, and then gave us lower lows, came back higher. But that's what that's what I'll be paying attention to if we disrespect this fair value gap. Now, coming into New York tomorrow, if we've traded back up to this fair value gap, maybe, we see them trade back above these highs here from Monday, but we still, for the most part, see them respecting this level on a 4-hour time frame, right? Like we see them trade up here into the fair value gap and then are dropping back down. Then I'll go ahead and continue with my bearish sentiment on DXY if that is the case. And like I said, we would be looking to see them get down to this 102.50. All right, so when we go live tomorrow in the morning, that's what we'll be looking for here on dollar. That's what we'll be paying attention to. Now, last week, going into it, we had our thoughts for NASDAQ, and I think we did a pretty good job. If you go back and watch the live from last week, I think we did a pretty good job with NASDAQ. Now, I'm only going to be talking about NASDAQ for real on today's session, and DXY and stuff like that, because I use those to give me the thoughts on NASDAQ. Now, based on what we just went over with DXY, for the most part, as long as we respect this fair value gap, I'd like to see a bearish dollar, okay, taking us down to this level here. And if that goes down, then I'll be looking for the bullishness here on indices. All right, now indices, I was looking for the selling positions last week, was able to take advantage of them. And here now, right, we're looking at the bonds market. Now, we don't trade the bonds market, right? Y'all know we don't trade the bonds market. But at the end of the day, the same way we use DXY, the bonds market is kind of an indicator for the indices. All right, and what we noticed here on the bonds market is that we already saw them trade below the lows of January here, right? They traded below the lows of the year so far. Even though they haven't made it down to this magnet that we have, and that's because just looking at the range from the low down here, we know that that would be a discount, right? So kind of do want to see bonds get down to that level. So if we see a bullish dollar, then we would be looking to see that continued bearishness, at least to that level on bonds, which means more selling opportunities on indices, right? But for right now, I want to see bearish dollar. And here on the bonds market, after seeing us trade below the lows of January, right? That's the low of January right here. We saw price trade down below that the week of Valentine's Day last week, consolidate a bit, and then we saw bullish, right, engulfing here on the daily time frame. All right, which means that now we have this order block here on the daily time frame, and we saw price go ahead on Monday, open up, trade down to that order block, reject, okay, and then we traded away. Now we're seeing the bonds market actually expand from that level, and here on the 4 hour time frame, let's leave this here on the daily. We go down to the 4 hour time frame. We'll see here on Friday they left a fair value gap. And this morning here, we traded down right to the high of that fair value gap and traded away. Now, I don't really like that. I actually do not like that. You know, now that we're looking at it, I don't like that. They didn't go into it at all, right? We really didn't even trade into the gap. So the gap's still there, technically. So yeah, we're going to keep our eyes on that. Let me see. Official weekly open, midnight, Monday. They traded off into that gap. Seeing them trade higher here. We're gonna keep our eyes right here. We're gonna pay attention to what dollar is doing when bonds gets right here. We're gonna put a little eye there, and we're gonna put an alert there as well. Right, and we're gonna see what the dollar is doing, right? Because if dollar shows that they want to break that fair value gap, and we see bonds get up to that level and reject, then yeah, they definitely got to come back down to at least this, right? And that'll line up if we see selling opportunities here on indices. All right, so now going over here, looking at NASDAQ, bullish as can be. Sorry guys, I'm out of breath. I told you, it was a little under the weather. A little bit congested, but we good. So yeah, looking at NASDAQ, NASDAQ. So looking at the daily time frame, let's go to the weekly. In general, clearly we can see NASDAQ has been bullish as can be, right? I had deleted the chart, so let's just go ahead and get a time idea again. And then this Monday, this was last Monday. You notice the first thing I always do is pull up the times, not just the levels of the price. I pull up levels of the time, right? I want to know this Monday's open, last Monday's open, the monthly open, and I map out the yearly open as well, because we're so close to where the year opened at. All right, but anyways, last week, I don't want the laptop to die. 1 second. All right, so last week, we saw the highs of February get taken, right? So highs of February were formed the week before, and we saw price take that February 12th, we took those highs, dropped back down. They sold off, came back not to the lows of the month, but to these lows here. It's pretty much triple bottoms here. All right, we saw price make a run below those lows. All right, once we got below those lows, we saw price go for a massive expansion to the upside, heading right back to that buy side liquidity here on NASDAQ from the high of February. So now that we've went ahead and taken this high out, and interestingly enough, it's not just that we just took this high out. We've been basically consolidating above this high, right? And let me delete this, and I'm gonna put this here. All right, why does that high matter? Because this is the reason that we pay attention to the month, right? This is where February opened, okay? This is where the year started. So that means that this is the high of January, all right? Also the all-time high previously, okay? We saw price trade up above these highs, and then we've just traded back below, traded back above, traded back below, traded back above, all right? We've just been really kind of consolidating, accumulating above these levels. And now we've seen price after consolidating for a while, we've seen price make a run here down into this imbalance level, right? Last week's price action took us completely down into this imbalance level, and then we saw massive expansion to the upside. All right, so now where's the next imbalance? That'll be right here. We have this imbalance here that was left from that price action last week. And if we just look at the low of last week and the high of last week, premium to discount, ideally, even if price is going to continue to go higher, it would be great to catch opportunities down here in the discount of last week. Okay, so that's what it is that we're pinpointing inside of that volume imbalance here. It's a big gap here on the daily time frame, but when we go down to the 4-hour time frame, we can see an actual, fair value gap that we can pay attention to. Bank, right, that we can pay attention to here on this 4-hour time frame. Right, yeah, look, boom, right, we saw price trade up above these highs, and then we're getting low, we've gotten a lower high, right? So now we've gotten high, and then we've gotten a lower high now here. Lower high inside premium after taking, a highs of the previous week and essentially the month as a whole. Here, we just made that run up. So as you can get the idea, I would looking at this NASDAQ chart, I'm going to be paying attention to potential bearish opportunities, and that will be really reinforced if I'm wrong about seeing DXY drop below this, right? So it would really line up with what I'm seeing on NASDAQ if I actually see DXY impulse going into tomorrow's New York session. I see that on DXY, that'll give me even more bias that I should look for the sell-off opportunities here on NASDAQ. If not, then I think I would wait. This is a lot of imbalance to sell above, to buy above. I'm sorry. Yeah, it looks a little nicer to the downside for me at the moment. What I'm considering is the daily level, right? Because before price came below, here we have a low, then we have a high, this low, price dropped here last Wednesday, right? This was the last up candle before price dropped down there last Wednesday. So naturally, I'm paying attention to this candle, right? And if price came down to that candle, which is also would be taking us below the lows of Monday, and below the lows of Friday, if price trades below into this at a specific time, like during 9:30 open, indices open, and I'm actually seeing DXY do what I spoke about, right, which is respecting for bearishness. At that point, then I would be willing to buy from here if I see bullishness from here. But ideally, if Nasdaq wants to behave, I would like to see us fall off into a 17,670. Yeah, 675, 17,675 on Nasdaq, and then from there look for buying opportunities. Okay, but I see anything basically like this. Right now, price is in a premium. Sellers thrive in a premium. Okay, looking at yesterday's price action here, right? We saw selling off here at 3 p.m., leaving this imbalance open on the hourly time frame. Right. So that's an area that's going to have my attention there. Sorry. What are we looking at here? Yeah, so that's what I'm going to be paying attention to on those guys. Okay. So yeah, that's what I'm liking this week on DXY, NASDAQ. Shout out to those of you guys that's still watching. Y'all got any questions? And like I said, I don't know if you saw the beginning of the video. Trading futures now, only trading NASDAQ. So if you do have questions, just ask them in the chat, or if you're in the Discord server, just ask them in the Discord server. I'm gonna go live in the morning in the server at 9 a.m. ahead of indices opening bell at 9:30, and we already know tomorrow we have news at 10 a.m. tomorrow again. Like, we do have 8:30 news, but we do have 10 a.m. news. So yeah, 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, I'll be going live in the Discord server, so you can, click the link below to get access to that. Ask any questions you have. I'm starting out on my futures journey, so I definitely am down to help, with any questions you have, and, help you out on getting started with that too. Because I know it was annoying not being able to trade on MetaTrader for a few months. It was kind of getting to me. But yeah, man, so that's what we're going to be paying attention to right here. This fair value gap here on NASDAQ, and how we respond coming into that level, right? And coming into these two levels, what it's looking like, and where DXY is at, what dollar's looking like. That's what we're going to be paying attention to. All right. Starting to see in US 30 and SPX kind of making the same type of motion. But you got to be careful with these guys. They do whatever they want. But that's why you just got to think in probabilities. That's why I never just say, especially on a market outlook, when we're trading live, I'll say like, yo, like, this is exactly what I'm going to do. But when it's market outlook preparation, this is where I, make the most of my money. Like, this is where I get the most of my confidence, is from doing these top of the week analysis, and just having an if then, like, if this happens, then this. If this happens, then this, right? Not this is exactly what's gonna happen. Like, that doesn't work for me personally. You feel me? All right, cool. Well, yo, if y'all got value, you watched all the way to now, I appreciate you. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Join the Discord server, and please like this video. That will definitely help out. I'm gonna be putting on way more content on this channel, but for right now, the content that I do put, y'all help me out, show some love. I appreciate that. All right, but see you in the morning for the live session if you're gonna be trading with us. All right, peace.